female falcon. Joining us to explain more is the study's co-author, Scott Duncan from AUT. And Scott, this research is in depth, covered thousands of children across more than 2 years. So what can you tell us about the outcomes for kids that have had too much screen time?
Well, in summary, they weren't fantastic. There was a range of indicators which were measured when they were 4.5 years old. And we found that those kids who exceeded screen time guidelines at 2 years old had some not ideal outcomes at 4.5, including motor skills, hyperactivity, body size, even things like doctor's visits and illnesses. So there weren't massive indicators or massive changes, but there were enough to make us realise that actually there is something in this excessive screen time we've got to be careful about.
The important question, I suppose, is how much is too much screen time, and is age important?
It's a golden question, yeah. I don't think anyone's got a hard and fast answer for that. Every kid is a little bit different, and yes, it does change with age, and not all screens are the same. So it's a very complex and emerging issue. As scientists, we're still trying to catch up. Every year, there's a new screen, there's a new device, there's a new game. So it's very hard to have a blanket rule about how much is too much. But what we can say is when a child is missing out on really key things for their development because they're on screens too much, or if the parents on screens a little bit too much and it's sort of bleeding off onto the kids, we know that can be problematic.
Did you have a look at ways to get them off the screen? Those things are seriously addictive.
They are. This particular bit of research didn't, but we have done some work in other areas, and one of the main hooks we have as parents to get children off screens is to give them a really exciting alternative, like risky play outdoors, like climbing trees, like going fast, like playing bull rush or rough and tumble games, all these things that have sort of disappeared a little bit from children, but were around when perhaps we were young. Those things are really exciting for children, and it's one of the only real ways I think we can get them off screens, or at least convince them that there's a better option to screens.
Scott, does it matter? I mean, maybe we have a few less All Blacks and more people in STEM. Isn't that a good thing?
Well, possibly. That's the thing. We don't know. We don't know. These kids are still too young. They haven't grown up to be adults yet. So we don't know if they are just resilient and they just adapt. And I mean, the human species is a very resilient species. We tend to adapt to these changes. One thing we do know, though, is these changes are more rapid than anything we've seen before. This is it's a very small amount of time in the course of human development that we've changed our style and our parenting so much. So we're just saying be careful and be sensible. A lot of it is really common sense, you know. You can tell when your child's been on the screen too long. They start misbehaving for a start. But just be sensible and don't beat yourself up about it, of course, because we all do that. We all make mistakes. We're all learning as we go. This is a really emerging field. No one really knows the true answers. So we just have to use common sense wherever we can.
Well, Scott, thanks very much for your wisdom this evening. Cheers.
No, you're welcome. Thanks very much.